Since 2009 when we met, you've been busy, Karen.
Just a bit, yes.
Yeah. What do you attribute that success to?
Learn, earn and serve is a mantra which I have in my family, which I teach my son. So learn your craft, earn your money and serve. Make sure that you give back. And so I try to do that in spades because I love this industry.
Yeah.
I love the creative industries in terms of the wider industry, and I want it to grow and flourish. And in order for that to happen, you have to have talent coming through, and talent takes all shapes and forms. You know, my parents told me to celebrate difference. So coming into an industry that didn't look like me, don't try and cover and be something that you're not. You've got to be who you are. And so I've always had that sort of confidence from my mum and dad to celebrate who I am and not worry about people not accepting me, because they sort of taught me to have a talent and to be unique and stand out. Don't try and blend. So I'm fortunate I had that.
And were there particular challenges that you faced entering the media industry as a black woman?
So it was difficult because there was a certain way of doing things, and that didn't allow for that celebration of difference.
Yes.
And you know, whether you like it or not, conscious and unconscious bias exists, and people hire in their own vein. So when you were looking at trying to get the next role or next promotion, you wouldn't necessarily be considered because you're not what mirrored the person doing the hiring or doing the promotion.
Yeah.
So it was difficult, but you always let your work speak for itself. You always let what you do speak for itself. And I joined a company which was media business, which became Mediacom, which was all about what you could bring and how you could complement, and promotion of talent regardless of gender or ethnicity. It was just about wanting to win.
And did you have particular mentors in Mediacom that saw that value and that performance that you were bringing and helped you progress?
From a career progression point of view, I was really fortunate. I had Nick Lawson, who is the EMEA CEO. I've worked with him since he was the new business director at Media Business, and I don't think he even realises I'm a woman and that I'm black. I don't, because what he cared about was having me on a team and the impact that I could have on a team, and me being able to relate and talk to clients and the work that I could do with clients. Yes. And he would talk about me and what I was capable of in the rooms that I wasn't able to penetrate yet, or the networks that I weren't part of yet. So he has always been a big sponsor of mine.
But it's important that we always hire and promote the people who are best at the job.
Absolutely.
I mean, absolutely, regardless of where they come from, who they are, what they do, what gender they are. And was that having those internal mentors and coaches, was that one of the reasons that inspired you to start the apprenticeship scheme, to be able to give that back?
Recognising what I felt coming into the industry, being one of few people from an ethnic minority background. Actually, if you look at the UK, we are a brilliant fruit salad of people in the UK, and the purchasing power of the BAME audience in the UK is phenomenal. So in order to future-proof our clients' business and to future-proof our own industry, we need to make sure that we have people in our industry that can reflect a consumer story and the brand stories and the content that we create, that we have the ability to set culture and the ability to make people feel as though they belong. So that means we have to have lots of different people working in our industry. There's a brilliant quote by John Steinbeck that says, if the story is not about the hero, they will not listen. And that's so true of our industry. If we do not reflect a consumer story and our brand story, they won't listen.
No, it's one of the reasons that we set up Pathway, the mobility programme 10 years ago in 2009, for that very reason, that our consumers are from around the world, a global audience. Our clients are a global audience, and even though when you look at Mediacom network as a whole, we're obviously in over 100 different countries, we need to make sure that the teams within those countries are also diverse.
Absolutely. And look, I talk about WPP now as a brilliant Avengers Assemble. really influenced by my 8-year-old boy and his obsession with Marvel.
Yeah.
But I think everybody has a superhero power. I genuinely believe that everybody has some form of superhero power. I
have to ask you what yours would be.
Mine's resilience. So there's something a little bit of an Iron Man about me, but it's resilience. But Black Panther, big day in our household when that was released. So my son would say I'm Black Panther. But I believe everybody has a superhero power, and I believe it's how you get those superhero powers working together as a team. And that's a true reflection of diversity and inclusion. You don't always have to get on.
No.
Captain America doesn't always get on with Thor or Iron Man, but they know how to work together as part of a team.
Yeah.
And that's what true diversity and inclusion is. What would your superhero power be?
I do have to confess that I'm also a Marvel and Avengers. I have a passion for that. I used to love the Silver Surfer as a kid, but I think my secret power, hopefully, is to help people grow. I mean, that's why I do this job. It's why I changed from my previous career to this one, is that one of the most amazing and rewarding things is when you see a young person come into the business and then in 3, 5, 10 years later they're leading the business.
And you mentioned Pathway and you talked about how that was introduced sort of 10 years ago. What does the global picture of Mediacom look like now?
I think when we talk about diversity and inclusion, we need to be mindful of the market we're in, the city we're in, and the talent pool from which we're hiring. So when I look at London, I would expect an absolute melting pot. What did you had a lovely term
fruit
for it? A fruit salad.
Yes.
I love that. And all sorts of talent coming through our door, because that's the makeup of the city. But if you go to other cities around the world, that's obviously not the case. So if I'm going to Beijing, or if I'm going to maybe Mexico City, the makeup's different. But I would always expect Mediacom to reflect the city and the country where we are. And I think that's important. But also moving different people from different cultures into our offices is fantastic. I mean, it's one of the most rewarding things, traveling around the world and meeting people that we've moved from South America to Asia, from Europe to North America, and just seeing how those cultures learn from each other. And of course, that's ultimately rewarding and beneficial for our clients, because we are the consumer. And as long as our teams are as diverse as the people that our clients are trying to communicate to, then that's, adds huge value. And I think it just makes it more interesting. When you actually work with someone who has a different view of life, of course that can be challenging sometimes because you come from very different places. But you learn so much and can give each other so much as well. So I think it's one of the most exciting parts of I think what we're doing at Mediacom globally. And I know Stephen Allen, the chief exec, is totally supportive of it.
And are we moving people around at all levels?
Yeah, all levels. So we actually have more women moving than men. We have 53% of the people we've moved are women. We have obviously complete diversity because of the 100 plus markets that we operate in. We're moving people from all those markets as well, and across every level. So our hand raisers are, as soon as they've come into the business, they've completed a year, they can apply to move somewhere else. When you're hiring, whether or not that's now for WPP or previously for Mediacom, and you're talking to those young apprentices, what are you looking for in them?
Look, I'm looking for people that are interesting and interested, because you want to learn from people that you work with. That's what the beauty of diversity, that somebody who's had a different path to you can bring a different angle to a problem that you're trying to solve for a client. And I learn, and that's what I really look for. Someone who's really interesting. If you've just had one path and you do nothing outside of your day job, what stimulus are you going to draw on in order to bring creativity to the problem you're trying to solve? And creativity is brilliant problem solving, which can transform businesses. So I really look for people that are interesting, that they do different things, but also interested in our industry and really can show an interest in our clients' business as well, because those are the people you want to hang out with. Those are the people who are magnets. Those are the people that are radiators and not drains. And look, that ability to pick yourself up when something hasn't gone right, when You know, we lose business, we win business, we have bad conversations, we've had bad meetings. That ability to pick yourself up and turn it round and to keep going, it's that strength of character I look for as well.
Yeah, absolutely agree with that. It's one of the first things that we look for and I think hire for as well.
Yeah.
So let's look forward in 10 years' time. We're sat here again.
Yeah.
A few more wrinkles, more soft focus.
A pair of tights on those legs, please.
When you look back, what will you have achieved in the next 10 years?
I am hoping that the industry will look very different to what it did when I started in the early 90s. So I am hoping that we have an industry which is truly reflective of the society in which we serve and which we work. And I am hoping that we have the UK as a beacon for talent on the world stage.
And that will be your legacy?
I hope so, yeah, I hope so. I hope I help make the industry truly diverse. I hope that people coming into the industry see this as a career. And something that can rival, you know, where at the moment you might get tech companies competing with us or management consultants competing with us. I hope people can see this industry as a brilliant career because it's a huge privilege. We set and help shape culture. It's a huge privilege what we can do. So I hope my legacy is that we have a really dynamic, really successful, really diverse industry which is a reflection of all of the markets which we serve.
Karen, the last 10 years have been an absolute pleasure to serve with you and watch you on that journey, and I really look forward to doing the same in the next 10 as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I feel like I'm going to cry. No.